Community Business Hour, 90.1 FM.
It's time to talk business, specifically community business on Community Business Hour with the You Can Do It team. Every Tuesday at noon, business-minded folks join the conversation with insight and information on how they took on the sometimes overwhelming challenges of business. Each contributing voice is a firm believer in helping you become a stronger social economic contributor. Here on Community Business Hour, we know the right information can change your life. Community Business Hour is for anyone wanting to be around local business-minded people. Whether you're starting or growing a business, running a nonprofit, or seeking employment, the You Can Do It team is on air and online for you. Phone lines are open, 713-526-8737. And you can connect with us across the social media spectrum at CB Hour. Now let's talk some business. All right, welcome to Community Business Hour. It's yours truly, Johnny Prophet. Miguel's back in studio with me, so we're going to hang out. I'm going to kick off with a quick monologue to get this off my chest because, it was one of those weeks. Every week is one of those weeks when you're, quote, living life, actually living it, and not just sitting there and letting other people tell you how to live it. So one of the things that, I want to address is the success stories of the week, which first goes out to Donna Franklin over at KTSU. Great job, Donna, on that milestone. I'm right there with you. I feel you on that. I also go out to Kevin Davis, a friend back at home. He actually stepped up on the podium after doing the Pro Mazda racing. He's a race car driver, open wheels, just the most awesome thing. It's nothing like seeing one of your buddies just go out there and do it like super big. So the other thing, let me get this set up, make sure we're recording. Okay. So the other thing really has to do with, I got a text from Pratt today, and he asked something about, is the game rigged, fixed, what's going on, why do entrepreneurs fail? And so I've always tried to equate sports to business because really they're one and the same, because I've played enough of both to make some association. So I want some of you to really take this to heart when you think about it, and I'm always preaching about, be careful who you take advice from, because they may not know what they're doing, or they may not have your best interest at hand. So when you think about sports, the goal is to win, and anyone that tells you differently is either in the YMCA league or they're just joking around and they probably couldn't win. But the name of the game is winning. In business, the name of the game is getting money, okay? When you get money, you can then influence people. That means you can get power, then you can feed them, you can bless them, you can do whatever you want with them. So at the end of the day, you have to make money. And business is just one more tool, investment instrument that you can use. Many of you would be so much better off keeping your day job, working your way up, investing carefully, and doing some side gigs, looking into your bank account, seeing huge amounts, paying off your house, and doing all that financial advisor stuff. Most of you are in that wagon, okay? That's like, those are the people that should just play weekend sports. Like, you want to dabble in business, sure, do an MLM to hang out with people, or start some type of neighborhood business or something like that. But business and sports are one and the same. That's why they're so popular. Business is a competition. And the crazy thing about it is, for so many of you, you come into business thinking like it's YMCA league, like it's eat or be eaten out here. There's no joking around when it comes to business. And so you allow people that really have no experience whatsoever in business at a competitive level, like at a dog-eat-dog level, tell you your Cinderella story of how if you just believe, if you just market, No, I'm going to explain this to you. Look, money is the same as scoring. The more you score and you outscore your opponent, you win. When you think about it, life is a tournament. Business is a tournament. Companies come and go. You've seen the largest companies in the world fold because they couldn't keep it together. And so it's important for you to understand that you're in a competition when you decide to enter real business. Like, you're really paying taxes and you're really competing for that last dollar from a group of people who just got laid off or furloughed. You're really competing for that last dollar from a supplier who's now went from, we're spending it like no, there's no tomorrow, to now we got to watch every penny. And if you can't win, if you don't have what it takes to be a winner, and being a winner is not motivational speaking, it's not all this hoorah and jumping up there, Eric Thomas, and no. Winners are quiet, they're effective, and they're efficient. They don't make noise. I told you before, the rich are like rain. and you can look around and see what the rich have done if there were rain. The wealthy are like the wind. They move, they shift everything. Wind can move water, but you never see wind. You can see what wind can pick up. You can see all that wind can do. Wind can knock over your house and you don't even know where it came from. That's wealth and that's power. And so when you're out here and you're thinking about, John, why is it so tough? So Pratt asked me this very specific question. He's like, why are these companies failing? Why are good people not getting it? And I keep trying to tell you, like, look at it like this. There's no such thing as fair. There's no such thing as equality. It's you have to have a couple elements in place if you want to be the Steph Curry of your league. If you don't watch basketball, which I've watched no finals whatsoever, he's this guy. For some reason, no matter what he throws up in the air, it goes in the bucket, okay? From anywhere on the court. It's just like, look, oh, he was walking to the locker room and threw it behind his neck and it went in. So, but the point is, there's a reason Steph is Steph, okay? There's a reason Kobe is Kobe. And part of that has to do with this thing of win, baby, win, and who influences you. So look at it like this. When it comes to business, there's this bracket, okay? And all of you are competing for contracts and things Miguel's going to talk about today, all these opportunities. Yes, 5 zillion, billion, gadillion dollars out there. But you have to compete for it. And if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your competition, if you don't know the rules of the game, if you don't have the stamina, if you have low tolerance for pain, if you put yourself in a bad situation, you're going to get knocked out of the brackets. And so if you've ever watched sports, and you've watched sports where the teams have to come, you have to play each other, winner keeps going on, you play each other, loser goes home, winner keeps going on, that's business. And so in business, there's a loser's bracket, and in sports, there's a loser's bracket. And I can tell you personally, I've spent most of my life in the loser's bracket. And now I'm going to give you the secret as to how I got into the loser's bracket over and over again. My wall is decorated with championships from just about every sport you can imagine, minus squash. Jahan Zeb, no worries, buddy. We're going to have the biggest tournament in the U.S. coming up. I promise that. But the point is, when I decide to do something, I do it because I plan on winning. And look, I know me, that's great. I know and understand the sport, that's great. I've never been the fastest person. I've never been the tallest person, the strongest person, any of that. But what I've been able to do is watch the best, learn, and practice. And once I practice to a point, then I go out and I find the biggest and the baddest to beat me up. Most of you out here, YMCA League, nothing against the Y, join your local Y, it's a great organization, I'm sure. But you go out there and you find anyone you could beat up on. It's like watching my 8-year-old wrestle my 5-year-old. We know how that's going to end up until she grabs something hard and clocks him over the head with it, then he's going to crowd foul, right? And so you go out here and you follow people that have absolutely no winning experience. But here's how it goes. Coming up, I made like really bad decisions. And they seemed like good decisions because I'm a winner and I look and I want other people to win, so I drag these people into my circle. You've heard me say who you eat with and who you sleep with will make or break you every single time. Your entourage is you. So if your entourage is sitting there looking at you dumb, dragging you back, diverting you from what you're trying to do, you're going to lose. You're going to get knocked into the loser's bracket because somebody else is going to come along. Either they don't have an entourage or they got supportive people, whether business, whether it's their house or their husband, their wife, their spouse, whatever. They're going to come into the situation, compete head-to-head for that dollar in the market with you, and they're going to be able to stay up longer. They're going to be able to go more places. They're going to be able to study. They're going to be able to meet more people, and they're going to be able to close the deal. You can't passion or pray enough to outperform somebody who's performing. I can't get that through all of your YMCA heads. And so sitting there thinking that you can just believe into winning is a fallacy. When these young kids are sitting up in New York and they're over at Rice University and they're doing all this magic and raising $5 million and $6 million and $20 million, it's just like the kid, especially if they never had to touch the losing bracket. That's just like the kid down the street from you who went to the best schools, who played the best kids. His dad or mom sent him to the best camps. He just kept rising and rising and rising because he had all the tools. He had everything he needed. And then here comes Ivan Iverson, some little tiny itty-bitty dude who wipes everybody off the map. Because that kid had the heart. He knew how to stay up late. He studied. He perfected his game. He knew what he could do best. And so many of you picked the wrong sport. I knew I had to leave volleyball at 5'10", at the height of 5'10", when my setter was 6'11". It was time to go. Right. And my vertical went from almost 60 inches down to 2 inches. It was time to go. I'm not going to be a libero in the back. I knew hurdles were over when I couldn't run around the track fast enough. But most of you in life stick to the same business until it kills you or destroys your family or you stay here. Here's another thing I see all the time. Going back to that loser bracket. You think because you get one loss, it's over. And you don't realize that in business, unlike in most sports, it's like double elimination where you lose once, shame on you. You lose twice, you're going home and you're watching the rest of the people play. In life, you get do-overs, but understand, each time you have to do it over, it's going to get a little bit harder. So if you're out there and you're young, you didn't finish, like for my case, I didn't finish college till I was whatever age. So I don't know if that would have been a hindrance or a help. But I know in salary-wise, it killed me. So a lot of my buddies, especially ones that are out there flying planes, racing cars, and traveling the world, they jumped in and got it done. People who follow the schedule have a better shot. That's like they're going to be positioned in like position number 1, 2, 3, and 4, who follow the rules. People who don't, like myself, we're always going to be number 16 out of 16 in the bracket. We're always going to have to fight the biggest and the best first off. And many of you don't understand how this winning bracket, losing bracket plays out. You get discouraged. You get so caught up in the, if you just keep believing and following people that have never played the sport, you're following people, you're letting people that have never ever stepped foot on the field, and they call themselves motivational speakers, and they call themselves marketing people, and they call themselves a lot of service industry people. You let those folks come to you and tell you, oh no, you can do it, you're just not believing hard enough. And then you got to ask them, have you ever stayed up all night? Have you ever worried about your car being repossessed, your house being taken away, your family leaving you? Have you ever worried about any of that stuff? Have you ever been through a separation or a divorce or anything where you're looking and you're thinking, everything's riding on me? Because I know a lot of people that have. Most of the people that came to SCORE, they were telling me some crazy stories of how they took on an entourage. They tried to be Captain Save Another Person. And in that effort, they lost the championship. They lost the bid to the Olympics. They lost the NBA Finals. They lost whatever it was their business was in. And I've managed professional athletes, and we tell them over and over again, the people you keep in your circle are going to be the people that make or break you. So Pratt, the real trick to business is you have to be willing to accept. I've said this over and over again. The cowboy or the white man is all about building cities and putting their name on it. The Native American was about following the buffalo. So when the buffalo left, the Indian, the Native American, went with the buffalo and kept eating. The cowboy simply killed everything in sight and then said the government took it all away from him, now I ain't got nothing. And it's amazing when you think about this like, you insist on staying in Detroit when the jobs are gone. You insist on staying on the west side of Houston and living in a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 apartment when your engineering job is gone. Meanwhile, on the other side in the port, they're still digging and processing chemicals at a rate that's just insane. But you're like, no, if I just believe, I just talked to my motivational coach, I just talked to my therapist, and they just said, if I just keep doing this, I just got to hang on. And I'm telling you, hanging on doesn't work. That's my monologue, because it just irks me to sit there, and people think I'm being mean, because this week I was Angry Bird on Facebook, because I went to the movie with my kids. And so if you've seen the movie Angry Bird, if you have kids, awesome movie. So I put Angry Entrepreneur. I took the little red bird, and that's me. And I can remember even sitting in the car going to a meeting one day, and I was with a group of bankers, and they said something, and I said something, and they said something, and I said something. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, hey, John, you sure are angry. I'm like, no. I know what it's like to get kicked down to the losing bracket and have to wrestle my way back up, have to volley my way back up, have to fight my way back up. Especially if that loss came because of a referee's decision or a home court advantage where I wasn't the home court. It happens. It's sports. But what I can't do is get discouraged or sit here and buy into, yeah, you're right. It's just, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. There's no way, there's no way around it. It's just life. It's not just life. Everything has a reason. Most things happen for a reason. There's no accidents to it. So I say that to say, don't be encouraged. Don't be discouraged. Just stay determined. That's why I say you can take passion and throw that out the window. Give me the driven people. I like people who can't stop, won't stop. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you see me on Facebook. You see all that stuff. My life is not perfect. No business owner I know. I run with some of the top business people in Houston. And I can tell you, we all have issues. And they always tell you about your favorite stars, your favorite actresses, and all that stuff. Everybody has something going on. And as Jay-Z has said so well, and people have quoted over the years, I got 99 problems. Yeah, ain't one. But if you keep people around you that want to not train and not practice, they want to daydream. I'm talking about your business. Think about your employees. Think about who you have around you. Think about the networking events you go to. Most of you go to networking events not knowing whether you want to win or lose. You just want to go just to say you're part of it. I'm here. Here's my card. What are you here for? Isn't it a business networking event? Yeah, but who are you here to see? Why are you here? You only get so many seconds in the day. Why are you here right now? I don't know. It just sounded good. Maybe I figured I'd bump into somebody. That's like an athlete going to the gym. Like, what are you working on today? I don't know. I'm just here. I might do sauna, but nah. I don't know. I just, maybe something will hit me when I get to the gym. But championships are next week. What are you going to do? Man, you stress too much, man. It's going to work out. It's not going to work out. So with that said, we're going to go to a quick break. And when we come over, I'm handing it over to my mega superstar co-host, and we'll go from there.
Houston Public Library links you to the world. And now, each one of us can have our own personal link to the world with the new Houston Public Library MyLink. MyLink gives you access to more than 6 million books and magazines, 130 online resources, 26,000 ebooks, and 5,000 movies for free. All for free. Anytime, anywhere. I have MyLink. Do you have yours?
Hello, I'm Sally Tyler,
Looking
Executive
to grow
Director.
your existing business? America's SBDC Network can help. America's SBDC Network no-cost growth acceleration services provide in-depth consulting to assess your financials, optimize performance, uncover new opportunities, and accelerate business growth. Ready to grow? Visit us online or contact your local office to get started on your path to success today.
Welcome back to Community Business Hour. You're on 90.1 KPFT HD3.
Okay, welcome back. We're back. I'm done. That was it. It's on you.
That was good. I liked it.
It's just, you hear the sadness in the hearts of people that are so passionate. And I want to say, they're very driven. There's nothing worse than when I see people that they really want it. They really want to win. It's like when I coached Little League, and you could tell that kid, like, for whatever reason, this sport is everything to them.
Right.
And you want to give them your all, and it's like, I have to dig deep to figure out how can I help this kid. That means I have to go Google it and find out new ways to teach soccer. That doesn't mean I go from my own experience, because even with my friends, I send my friends to trainers that are relative or that have their same experience. Me going and talking to the CEO of a corporation is so pointless, because I'm like, I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't go to Stanford. My dad wasn't the vice chair prior to that. None of those things apply to me. So how is anything you're saying right now going to help me? Well, John, you just got to, stick to it. And I'm like, no.
Well, you hit on one of the key issues there. Part of my job as the head of government contracting business development for SBA here in Houston is that I have to remind those that are trying to seek this out, and they always come in, they're so narrowly focused on that. I'm going to go get prime contract. I'm going to be a prime contractor with the federal government. Okay, and then they're sitting there almost not just an obstacle there, but they're very very antagonistic about what we have to say about. No, this is a process there. I mentioned last week. I've only got 3 federal procuring entities in the Houston area. Everything else you have to go somewhere else. You have to be prepared to market somewhere else. Exactly. Okay? I don't have any bases. The military buys everything. It's different places, but that's the easiest thing. San Antonio's got plenty of military bases, all right? Plenty of procuring activities. They buy plenty of things. That's San Antonio. You'll have to get on either the road, go up I-10, you take a left from downtown, all right? And then you'll hit San Antonio at some point, okay? Go down there, visit the military bases, all right? And you have to go visit. Out of sight, out of mind. All right. Contracting is essentially just like anything else. They gotta know you, they gotta like you, all right, and they gotta trust you. Okay. If you're not around, they have never met you, they don't know you. In order to like you, they gotta be. It says, well, problems can come up, but no, you're proactive about it. Okay. You understand how things are working. You're making their life easier for them. Okay. In the contracting side, no hiccups, as we say. All right, and they got to trust you. They trust you that you're going to complete what you've done. You're going to apprise them when things do crop up, because life does crop up. You have issues that do crop up. You have to make sure that they know here's the problem, and let them know timely so that it can be proactively worked on. So it's very costly for the government to try to replace somebody on a job. Okay, the job didn't leave. It's still necessary. They still need to build that bridge. They still need to procure the toilet paper, whatever it may be. But to find a replacement could be, anything from, a couple hours to a half a year to a year's worth of work, which they don't have time to do.
Exactly.
Okay. And they get measured by, were they successful in getting things done? Okay. Just like anything else, a little more quicker to do that. But you started about mentioned about not knowing what's going on there. I always remind these small businesses going, when you're looking at this and you're telling me I'm only going to be focused on doing prime with the federal government, I'm going, you're excluding all this other business out there.
Right.
All right. So in banking, I used to call it trying to find the white elephant, okay, or hunting for the white tiger. Okay. There's this animal that's out there, and it's just this glory thing that's going to get you a lot of things. But if you miss on everything else that you could have done, it's like everything. In increments, you can get to the same point. If it was 5 million that you were trying to hit to make your nut for that quarter, you could string along a whole bunch of these in order to get there. One of my favorite banking institutions in town, and I'm not afraid to say, is Spirit of Texas. Spirit of Texas, has done a phenomenal job since their inception here. Right? It hasn't been that far removed that they were starting out. One of the things that they came and asked about is that they wanted to make a really SBA part of their model, right? Their business model there. Okay. And they've done such a phenomenal job about going after those. I believe one of their best clients is Sport Clips. Sport Clips is now national.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Where I go.
Well, Sport Clips back then was just here. Okay. And they've expanded that out. All right. So and in doing that, and so they're able to they understand small business financing enough to where if it's a small deal or if it's a big $5 million deal, they can handle it. Okay, they position themselves pretty well. Same thing on the contracting side, right? So if you're going for a prime contract, that's all you're looking for. Okay, there's going to be gaps there because there's going to be one prime contractor on anything, right?
Yeah.
But it can be a whole bunch of subs, and that's why I try to emphasize that. When it comes down to it, on Friday afternoon, your employees' bank accounts, and especially your own bank account, doesn't care how the money got there. All right?
Right.
As long as it's there. So you had no prime contracts. But if you strung together 10 little bitty ones and it still made the same, right, outcome that you're trying to find, that's great.
Exactly.
And again, even better for you, if you think about it, and we talk about intermediate to long term, if you're building your business for growth, okay, you've now demonstrated that you could do this. You should survive. You could fulfill your obligations on a contract, on multiple contracts, and if you were savvy about it, they're going to cross different disciplines or overriding disciplines, so that when you come before the next prime contract, you're a little more robust in their eyes because you're able to not only do staffing, but you can do staffing. You can do the IT work. All this different things here to fulfill a contract for them. Make it easier for them to do more business with you. All right.
Yep.
So I mentioned the 3 federal procuring entities. So everybody remember we talked about last year, NASA Johnson Space Center, and I gave the example of the security for the Johnson Space Center facility. Okay. And the key to a small business, well, I could do that. You just do the perimeter like that. It includes badging. No, I could do the credentialing like that. Okay, all right. You understand what this means, and we're talking about the facility. And remember, I said that NASA's got a 2-year window leading up to the procurement. One of the reasons is because you need to ask those questions. You need to ask, okay, I'm missing something. Why do they keep bringing this up? Are you ready to do the facility? Well, you have to ask the question about what is the NASA Johnson Space Center facility, and in this case, the answer is Johnson Space Center, Ellington Field, White Sands, New Mexico. Right? Now, as a small business, you're all fired up about getting in there and getting this contract to fulfill this for the Johnson Space. But Ellington, okay, I may be able to swing that locally, right? But White Sands, did I have the foresight to find something out in White Sands or to try to put a footprint out there?
Right.
No, I didn't. Okay,
or do they even have the capacity to go to White Sands?
Exactly. So and then you're sitting there crying foul, whatnot. Says, well, wait a minute, you didn't do your homework,
right?
Okay? Had you met with a consultant, like a PTAC consultant, all right? PTAC would have been all over, and so you understand that this means White Sands, New Mexico, right? Well, why does it mean it? It doesn't matter. This is what it means.
Yep.
Okay. You partner up with somebody else, another small business. If you want to still be in that same arena for set asides, all right, then you need to find somebody else similar to how you're able to get that set aside. Yep. Otherwise, it's going to go small business.
And I usually say it's like you have to find the people he's talking about, and those people are going to help you with game film, okay? Because if you ever think of any athlete, we watch game film.
Right.
We don't go to all this marketing stuff. We sit there and we analyze the competition. What's their business model? What's their structure? How many employees do they have? How are they delivering it? How many trucks leave their facility? Do I have the scope do I have the capacity to handle what they're doing? If I don't, go fix it before you even start to compete, because now you're just, again, you're asking for getting dumped into the loser bracket. And the other thing I want you to understand is all the people he named. So you have the owner, the person who absolutely controls that resource of what's going on. In this case, it might be the president of the United States or however it works out. And you come down. You never see this person. You don't see this person. Underneath, you have the general, or like if this were a sporting team, you'd have the owner of the team, general manager, a coach, and then special teams coach. And so for most of you, if you're not the owner, which I almost guarantee you're not the owner, you're probably not the general manager, which means you're not the person handling the owner's money, and you're not the coach, you're going to be a subcontractor. That means you're going to deal with a special teams coach, okay? That means you need somebody that can help you get specifically into that sector. So again, like if you want to retrofit the lights on the runway, then that doesn't mean you're going to ever see the owner. That doesn't mean you're going to all these polo matches with those people, because all you want to do is be on special teams and retrofit the lights. You don't care what the security system's like. You don't care what TSA is like. You don't care what fuel is being dumped in the planes. You just want to fit the lights. The more specific you become at your position in the game as the player, as the entrepreneur, the better off you are. But most of them, I don't know how many codes they put in there. When you look up a business, like, what do you do? Well, I do catering. I do electrical work. I drive dump trucks.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right. It's like, okay, how are they supposed to hire you if they don't even know what position you play?
Right. On the lending side, we used to, when I was the lead underwriter for our financial programs, we always used to joke about, we had this great, we always had taquerias coming in, right? And of course, in Houston, we're going, all right, why? Two things. I look at it and go, why is this taqueria going to work when we got 100 taquerias just within spitting distance here around you, let alone restaurants and other, you have direct competitors, okay? That's in your specific niche. Yeah, these a little more intermediate or secondary competitors, which are other restaurants. And then you got your tertiary competitors, which are the non-restaurant alternatives, right? So, like grocery stores, convenience stores, and whatnot. You don't think about this, but when somebody's coming by, what's going to drive them into your restaurant,
exactly.
okay? And they're sitting, and I'm going, and plus, I go, it says here you're a NASA engineer, all right? and I just couldn't get my mind around it. And the guy comes back, well, no. I'm sorry, I didn't put down. It says my family's owned a restaurant over there, Nassau. Nassau Bay,
Yeah.
okay, and I'd like to open up one over here. And I go, well, why didn't you lead with that? Okay,
right.
Again, like I said, we talked about yesterday, said you got to know yourself and know how this plays about what you're trying to do.
Yep.
Okay, similar with contracting, you've got those that engineers. When we talked about last week is when NASA's the space shuttle ended and Constellation was canceled. All these engineers flooded the market, right? And they're still around. And like you said, they're still around. So that doesn't mean that there's no viability here. Okay, thankfully the oil and gas industry took off about that time, but now that's gone into the doldrums. Okay, so what is it here? It says, well, that doesn't mean that you can't be utilized. Maybe not in this capacity, but going back and maybe retreading back to aerospace. But it's not going to be here per se. It may be somewhere else. All right, so NASA's got a small business specialist. Okay. In the Office of Procurement, all right, it's called their business industry, I believe is the name of the office there. But it's a special section to deal with small business.
Okay.
All right, so every federal agency that issues a contract has to have a small business specialist, all right, to deal with small businesses, all right, that could potentially be on those contracts. At NASA, our good friends there, the one that I always turn to is Chuck Williams. Charles Williams. He's the senior small business specialist there. And the Johnson Space Center, as I said, has done really a great foresight, right? They've put together, because again, they're in the planning stages. They put together this very nice series of roundtables that you can meet, right? You get to Chuck and meet with the primes on their contracts, okay? So you get to meet with the Boeings, all right? You get to meet with Wiley. You get to meet with, whoever they have there, MD Anderson. When Scott Kelly was up there, his reports are coming down, and they were going to, I think, MD Anderson and maybe in Baylor, okay? But they had different institutions working on the data, all right?
that he was providing on an ongoing basis there for analysis there. Because remember, it's the first person to stay up in space for over a year.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
how that affects the body. Okay, and they're still doing that because now he's back on Earth and now he's able to do the comparisons there. And of course, his was the thing because with his brother, you had a benchmark here, right, identical twin, and sit there and what's the effect on this? So you could have this. That's phenomenal from a standpoint. You have that comparison all the time. So like I said, go to the small business specialist, meet with them, get before the round. They'll review what your pitch is.
Yeah.
They'll criticize, do the critique for constructive criticism. Okay, and maybe they even pair you up. NASA in general has a good mentor protege program. Okay, what a mentor protege program is that they take a established business. Okay, in the case of NASA, someone that's been in business with NASA already, knows the ins and outs, knows the culture, knows the nomenclature, everything, okay? And they will essentially help the protege, in most cases, it's a small business, okay, the NASA way. So they can be successful and fulfill those contracts. Remember, because contracts, they're very judicious about who gets those because it's not just this one, it's the succeeding contracts there.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why, it's a shocker when I tell everybody that, under law, the federal contract's supposed to have profit in it. And they always go, no, I want to get I want to get the contracts. I want to cut corners. No. If you don't put profit, that means you don't stay in business. And if you don't stay in business, we can't replicate what's the product or services down the line. And that's more important in many cases than the initial one, right? It's establishing that pipeline there so that it's always there.
Yeah.
Okay. Because government, it's, like I said, you have to think really big when you talk about government and what it does.
And what hit me was, so when you mentioned the whole, you have all these people that are experienced. I consider them special team coaches. They know how to get you to the quarterback. They know how to get you around the racetrack. They know how to get you there. And then I hear people say to me, yeah, I went there. Yeah, I went there. I didn't get anything out of it. And I'm going to tell you this. Chances are, especially if you're highly educated, you didn't listen. And you went in there with your own perceived idea of how you think it should go down. I can tell you nothing burns me faster than sitting, wasting my time that I could be hanging out with my kids or something at, Razoo's or something with somebody, and they've summons me to give advice, and then I know that. I thought you were going to tell me something different. I've been to all those places, John. I've talked to all those people, John. And I'm thinking, well, you must be like the person that shows up to basketball or football camp when the coach says, I want you to jab step, then go. But you're like, no, I've always been doing it this way. Jab step's not going to make a difference. Why do you want me to jab step? I don't know, maybe because there's 10 other people on the field that are counting on you to jab step and not do your thing. And
Right.
So many of you get so caught up, especially you smart ones. Not think you are, but think you smart ones are out here shortchanging yourself by not following directions. These people, they get paid based on being successful. So if you go to one of these programs where it's actually somebody with real experience and they've actually been doing it and they actually have been in the positions, because not all programs are created equal, but you're in this position and you're dealing with this person and they're saying, yeah, I wouldn't sweat it. I'd do it this way and I'll look this up. I'd wait 30 days and then I do that. But because your bills are due and you have no money, you don't want to do that. That's not their problem. And I see it all the time. You rush the process. You don't listen to people who tell you things that may sound difficult. It's like when the coach tells me, John, you got to go do some more military press. You got to do more. Your shoulders are weak, boy. Your shoulders are weak. My shoulders are fine. And then I tear my shoulder. I'm like, man, my shoulder. He had me doing these stupid drills. And all of you, most of you, the majority of you, you don't listen to people that actually know what they're talking about because you want somebody to give you a YMCA. You want them to give you that what did I have? The award participation award. And you want them to tell you it's going to be all right, even though you didn't do it right, even though you didn't listen to the person who stopped their day, had a conference, brought all the lenders, brought all the people, brought everybody that's actually counting on you to be a good player. But no, you want to be a superstar without ever earning it. Sorry, it was another rant. But when you said that, I kept hearing people walking into my office or coming to me saying, oh, John, I went to P-TECH. But
You didn't give it enough time.
Exactly.
What was it? Remember the Titans. Denzel goes, says, we're on the veer. Says, yeah, just let it work. Let it work. Like Novocaine, it will work. Okay, you got to let it go. Okay,
process is hard for people.
Exactly. And the thing is that in government contract, it's a parameters there, right?
Yep.
You may be the most creative, the most artistic, right? The child protege, whatever you may be. But for government contracting, here's a process in place. It's been in place, right? This is how it's going to be done on this. And if you can't understand that, I said, creative people can really do very well because they can bring the innovation into things. However, when it comes to government contracting, it says, well, that has to be put aside, and you have to essentially check that ego and go, it says, all right, this is the way to do it. If I want to put bread on the table, I need to do it this way, and just let it work on this and continuously seek out to how to improve the process for it. Now, creativity can help you out when you finally get some type of opportunity to do it. However, that's going to be mostly on the private side.
Yep.
Okay. So NASA putting together with not only the primes that work with you, possibly the mentor protege program for them, but also when it gets down to it, when you think you're ready or you are ready, you're in the mentor protege program, or you've demonstrated that you've been able to do these contract work. Perhaps then you can get for his engineers or whatnot, or his buyers. Okay, they can do that as well. So as I said, NASA, and then NASA, Chuck has been really good, and all their centers are really good about cross marketing, as I say.
Yes.
Okay, I don't have that here, but Ames may have it, and here's the contact there.
Yep.
Okay, and again, encouraging you to go seek out his counterpart.
And I can tell, and the crazy part is, I'm on the board for the government procurement deal, and I meet with these people. We meet and we literally brainstorm for 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours about how can we get the resources to the people.
Right.
And that's exactly what's going on. It's sharing of information. It's who has what, when, where, why. Give us your calendar. And so, yeah, that's all I got.
Right. So that's what. And you brought up the lenders. Okay, getting the lenders together. You could sit there. There's matchmakings that are ongoing throughout the city, where the matchmaking, you've got to be very not only prepared but proactive when you get in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you met with them. Well, think about it from their standpoint. Okay. Yes, they took the time out to be at the matchmaking. They're supposed to be able to guess their interest, but you've got to do that follow up. What is it that's going to make them interested in doing business with you? Okay. So what motivates a banker? A banker is the relationship. Okay. So you may say it's just deposits. Right. It's not just deposits. Remember, how they make money is on the loans. Okay. So making the deposit is actually a liability for the banks. They want you to do that because that helps out with their borrowing base and what they're able to do back to you. But understand from it, they're looking for a relationship, right? So if they are managing a relationship, an established relationship, they're going to have a different response than a transactional, all right?
Exactly.
Response, okay? Transaction means that just coming in just for this deal. I'm going to keep my accounts over here. Again, you've got to understand that dynamics there, all right? That doesn't mean move your account to the new bank, okay? It just means understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, study the game film.
Exactly, and leave them with something. I would say, the strongest point is somebody that leaves a business plan or proposal with the lending institution or the investor, something they could take apart, all right? Because remember, that plan or proposal, all that's doing is demonstrating to somebody else who doesn't understand your business necessarily what you understand about your business, okay, and how you can successfully operate it to meet anticipated obstacles, including the financial burden that you're trying to alleviate right then and there with the loan or investment. Okay, because again, it's that progress there. All right, why would you invest in something? Why would I invest in you, John? Well, because you've got to be able to demonstrate to me that this is what my vision is. This is what I'm interested in. But if you don't have a core business there that you can sit there and go, okay, that's great, but your core business isn't enough to meet the obligations that you currently have. Let alone what you're going to try to do with me. How is that going to come? It's just common sense.
Yep.
Okay. And meet with somebody there. That's why we keep touting SCORE, SBDC. Free resources are there. They work already with the lending institutions, right? The lending institutions, the SBA local office put together here for in Houston under Hagel, HAGGL.com.
Yep.
Okay. These are those lending institutions which have dedicated small business programs. They're listed on there. These are the point of contacts for them for their small business specialists. Okay, if you want to call them SBA lending, but SBA is not the total picture there. They do use SBA lending. A lot of them will use maybe the city of Houston's program that Marlon Mitchell runs over at on Griggs Road.
Yeah.
Many of them will use the state's programs. Okay. So again, they know about small businesses there. Okay. they're there. Contact them. But don't be shy about telling them, well, I'm also looking at a different business. And then tell them that you already use their bank. Because if you have a relationship, and a relationship could come from any guys, right? I had I have a savings account, I have a checking account, I have my business account, I have loans there, mortgage, whatever it may be. If you're on their radar already as an established relationship, they're going to be a little more amenable to what you're trying, or at least to get you on the right path for that lending institution.
Yeah, and for some of you out there thinking, for most people, bankers and banking is intimidating. And I have to say to you, I understand that. It's kind of going back to sports. That's like the first time since the object of the game of business is to make money. I don't care if you're a nonprofit. You have to extract money out of the economy, put it into your coffers, into your account, if you want to go out and do good things or bad things or whatever you want to do. Okay, there's you have to. So when you think about the banker and they sit on everyone else's money and they have to churn that thing over just at the right pace with all kinds of rules and regulations to stay afloat, to stay profitable, they need, again, team members that know how to play the game. So if you know nothing about banking and you didn't think to actually go ask a banker, even before you go ask a banker, as I say with the kids, don't ask me to study until you do your homework. Go do your homework. Stop lifting the easy stuff. Stop lifting the marketing and stop lifting the social media stuff until you can talk numbers. If you want to be a rock star, a superstar, then by all means, study marketing. Study how to effectively get people to look at you. But we're in business and we're trying to study effectively how to get people to turn over their money to us in exchange for some value, whether it's valuable to us or not. And you completely missed the boat. I've said there is more money in this world than there will ever be enough people to go out there, take that money, turn it into a return of at least 0.001%. All the money sitting offshore, all the money the banks are sitting on, they're not looking at you because they hate you because you're black, you're white, you're a woman. They're looking at you because you probably came in there and said something really ignorant. You said something that let them know immediately you know nothing about money, even though you know how to spend it, which scares everybody in business. That's on the investor side. We know you know how to get Louis bags and Gucci purses and big cars. We know you know how to spend it, but we're not in the business of spending. We're in the business of making money. And so I say that to many of you, don't get dressed up to go to see the banker, okay? Don't get all impressive because they see you looking six figures, but they look in your account and you have two. We got issues. They already know, like, this person's going to default.
Right. You should be genuine when you're talking to anybody, but especially with someone that's going to help you. And in business, you got to have a banker in your background. You got to have a lawyer. You got to have a good CPA. Okay. But there's some commonalities there.
And I tell you, I moved the CPA part out, and now because everybody's losing their job and going contract work, so now I've been going after certified chief financial officers.
Okay, good.
Because they can do the budgeting, the projection, and all that stuff. And it just because before I had CPA on the list, it was the attorney, CPA, and now we've reached towards the certified financial officer, or
right.
Chief.
They're better positioned to have you achieve growth.
Right.
A lot better because and not to dissuade anybody from having a CPA. All right.
Right. No, you have to have it.
In fact, like I said, that was one of the industries. A good friend of mine is a partner in a mid-sized firm, and she was just commenting that right now there's going to be a tsunami there of retirees, right, of these experienced CPAs that are leaving the industry, okay, because they're too old, they die, whatever, and there's a gap there that we have to endure now, where you've got, where you're going to have less and less.
Yeah, right? We will pay a premium for that.
Exactly.
The rich will take them and use them to lower taxes and get more value, and the poor will be using an app.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
So what else did we talk about? We're looking at some events or things coming
Sure. I came this morning. Remember we talked about PTAC.
Yes.
Okay. So in order to engage PTAC is the defense contract. To engage PTAC as your consultant, you have to apply online, and UHPTAC. If you put that in your browser, and then come up and remember it's a part of the SBDC network, so it's .edu or .net, one of the two. But you do the application, and then you have to come sit through an orientation. The orientation is very good for setting out that benchmark of here's what's going to happen. All right, Tim Scarborough, the director, does a good job about setting the expectations. Here's what's going to happen. Here's how much time is going to be involved. And again, it's about working. You have to work towards it. Okay. And so I just came from there. So some of the things that's going on there, veterans. There is a Boots to Business program that the SBA launched several years ago, and then they followed up with a reboot, okay, to do their second incarnation on it. So there's a reboot going on. There's some spaces still available. So these are for veterans and their spouses, okay, both current and of course retirees, and with a special emphasis on service connected disabled vets. Boots to Business is 2 days free seminar, okay, at the SBDC there in Midtown on Fannin, 2302 Fannin, and it's covers a wide variety of the different topics that we talk about daily, right? What are the different sources for coming up with your business corporation? What's the pros and cons of each different legal formation? Different ways to set up your bookkeeping. All the different topics that that people need to know as a kind of like a filter for, do I go into business or not? Okay, know all this. Is a 2-day session there. Boots to Business reboot at the SBDC. SBDC is sbdc.uh.edu.
Use your benefits.
That's right. So
Use them.
It's free. Okay, 2-day seminar there. They have a couple items on new classes. Remember we talked about social media marketing. Okay, in this day and age, you got to have that incorporated. You have to understand that, right? So some of the things they have on tap. 8 tips for blogging success. Right? Why would you blog? Well, John will tell you. Says, that's how you get to the top of the browser.
Yep.
Okay, the more you blog, or the more timely you blog, the better off you're going to have on searches for you. Okay, get your business online with Google. How to make traditional and digital marketing work for you. These are some of the courses that they've now come up with because of demand.
Yeah.
People told them that this is what they wanted. They had to survey anything.
Right.
And then finally, I'd like to touch upon a bit about exporting. Exporting is one of those key gems. We've talked about this. If there was ever one area that I would love to get into, because of the margins, right? The possibilities with the margins there is exporting. Okay, people across the world love American products. Okay, and they're willing to pay a nice premium for it. Okay, so part of you can learn about that. There's an export workshop being held this Thursday at the SBDC from 8:30 to 12:30. There's breakfast is included. All right, free parking, of course, always at the SBDC across the street. And again, you register at sbdc.uh.edu. And then for those entrepreneurs that have a little more and fast forward there, okay, and they have the foresight to start thinking about investing overseas, OPIC's having their Expanding Horizons seminar next Thursday. Next Thursday, the 16th, at the Royal Sonesta. All right, it's a conference there. OPIC brings together XM Bank, SBA, all the different, anything having to do with exporting. So how to legally export, how to invest in the other countries. Again, this is fast forward for entrepreneurs. This is that next one. You talk about global. We need to be thinking global, right? Anything you do now, it says you have to think globally now, right? Not only for sourcing, but for prospects, for revenues, right? So this is one way to do that.
How do you spell it?
The OPIC, OPIC. So the Office of Overseas Private Investment Corporation is a quasi-governmental entity. This is the Houston one's the Royal Sonesta. That's the one that's outside of 610 and Westheimer. I think you have to go up to San Felipe, come back down on the frontage road to get to it. For those that are interested in that, there's a discounted rate, I believe, of $35 to attend. If they'll send your contact information to John, he'll send that link out to you, or give you that code for you. All right, that's something that you can do for him, and I'll have that ready for you. But that's the topics right now. It's summertime's a really good time to to reassess what's going on, all right, and get you for that big push at the end of the year, all right. And we see in banking, it's where we start to see the loan applications starting to come in more during the summertime, but especially in that third quarter, right, calendar quarter.
Okay.
Because if it doesn't get done, like I said, if it's not on the books by December 1st, it's not going to be on the books this year. Yeah. So therefore, nobody bonuses on it. So again, the emphasis there from the banking side, thing to know, right? Thing to know is that if I can get the information to them and I can get this going here, The time to do it is between now, June 1st, all right, and roughly, let's give October 31st, November 1st, okay? Because you want to give them about a 30-day window there, and then remember to throw in there, wait a minute, what comes in November? Thanksgiving, okay? So you want to get it more towards the September side than the October side, but this is the window now where you start to see more activity in lending. And again, if you've done your homework, and we go back to for preparation in sports is practice. Practice. My son hates practice. Okay, he's got this really good talent and whatnot as a soccer player, but he hates practice. And I told him nobody really likes practice.
Right.
Okay, but the difference between good and great, all right, is twofold. One, the great practice, right? They know what it means in order to get themselves to the next level, and then they elevate those around them, their teammates, to the next level. I didn't say they had to be great; they just had to be good. Right? Look at Jordan. All right, Jordan. What was the difference there? He elevated his teammates. Or he got a good partner in Pippen. All right, and they got key players. He elevated those teams. I mean, he always said, "Why do you always bring up Michael Jordan? And what about Steph Curry?" Nothing against Steph.
Right, but that's a whole different.
But Jordan went away for 3 years, okay, and came back and got 3 more.
Right.
All right, I mean, there's the benchmark there, right?
And I think there's a difference between being very skilled and being an absolute winner.
Right.
You know, he could go to baseball when you know winners. Like it doesn't matter what they touch, they go all in. Versus somebody who's just like really good. You're the best tennis player, you're the best shooter, whatever. It's a little bit different.
Right.
You know, and never to take anything away from him, but it's a different heart of a champion, and when you get those kind of players.
The ones, you know, everybody, I bring back Bo Jackson.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, Bo Jackson. I mean, come on, football, baseball, track. Okay, even Herschel. You know, Herschel track and football.
Right.
But Bo, I mean, he was an all-star.
Yeah.
Right. In those 3.
And Steph's young. I don't know. Maybe he'll turn around next week and win Formula One race car. I'm like, look at this guy. He just knows how to win.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Because he has the folk. Remember, his dad played in the league.
Right.
Okay. Let's not think this was some inner city kid and oh my gosh, he came. No, this kid had every available resource known to man, and he just happened to have the talent and the DNA, and it worked out.
Yeah, so everybody asks me, so why do I have such a background there? Going, I was talking to tell you earlier, going, okay, you understand that I had 2 parents that worked for the agency, right?
Gotcha.
So from 1970, 1971 to now, the agency's been in my life at some point, at some form or fashion. So you get into that.
Exactly.
It's, well, I can just sit there. It's breathing to me, all right? Wow. Why do I know where the different resources? Well, I mean, from an early age, this is what we're talking about at the dinner table, all right? So
you remember that when you're dealing with my kids, because mine are standing outside the studio looking at me now. So,
that's right.
We got to get out of here because the next show should be here anytime now. Any parting notes you want to leave with them?
No, like I said, I thank you for letting me come back. Like I said, I'm always happy to impart knowledge and, of course, direct people. Right. Yeah. And please, again, if you want to go to the OPIC, please send a message to John, and he'll get you that contact information.
JW at EEHour, EEHOUR.com. If you want to get that discount code. So
that's all I have.
All right, so till next week, remember, if first you don't succeed, it's because you did it wrong. I've been saying that forever. Go out, learn how to do it right, and then maybe you'll have a better chance. If you're in that loser bracket, keep fighting. You might make it back to the championship. If not, at least place in the top 3, and you still end up on the podium. So with that said, we'll talk to you, see you, and enjoy you next week. This will go up to SoundCloud, maybe. Pratt asked me to remind that. We've had some technical difficulties because I was just trying to do too much today. But until next week, have a prosperous week. Goodbye.